there. I'm here back again with Mr. Neil Diamond. We're going to talk about how to finish these and glaze them. You have to plan ahead a little bit. So we're going to kind of rewind back to before you throw them. You have to kind of think a little bit about how you want to deal with these because, of course, as you probably know, that glaze fuses everything together in the kiln. So, and there's no foot on this or way to like sit them up so that the glaze does not fuse. So you have to leave something either bare, so raw clay with no glaze, to have them supported, or you have to hang them on to fire. Now, if you're doing high temperature firings, I find these are just a total pain. You see so many things online with people firing beads and everything and using bead holders and different ways to do it. But in reality, it's really not that cost effective. These little metal rods are very expensive, and so are the bead things. And, oh, Neil. Hello. I always just going to sit right on top of everything. And anyway, if you spend $4 or $5 on just a little piece of wire and it bends after the first firing, it's not exactly efficient. Neil. Yeah, he's a rock star, Neil Diamond. He's got to be right in the mix. Buddy, you're kind of in the way. Here, move over. So anything heavy that's being supported on these things are going to eventually, within a couple of firings, bow things down. If you're doing low temperature work, it's less of an issue. So in the case of, say, Raku firing, that's a low temperature thing. So these actually work fairly well. I find in the Raku firing, I can get a lot of firings off these rods. The biggest thing is trying to find something that you can support it with. So I just had these extrusions that I poked holes in, and I can hang a few. And you have to plan ahead. So if you're going to do some Raku firing, you have to plan ahead and make sure that you can, this one's stuck, that you can make sure that the holes are big enough to fit these rods in. This one didn't. I had to use a high temperature wire. Let me grab a different one. So you have to plan right ahead at the beginning. Does your wire actually fit through the holes of the wire that you're going to use for firing? So when I hang these, you can make little boxes or whatever to hang. I can clip these with my Raku tongs, and I can usually fire a couple at a time and then just take the whole thing out of the kiln. And that's how I do those. But there's bead racks. You could still do the same thing on it. It's just a little harder to kind of grasp if you're Raku firing. You can see this one was Raku fired, and I just glazed the entire thing, making sure that the hole was clear of glaze, so that when I supported them on the wire. In this case, this is unglazed, this nice soft black. In Raku, that anything unglazed turns black from the combustibles in the reduction barrel. So nothing sticks to that. So that's a big advantage to Christmas ornaments, if you have a section, because you can not have to worry about the glaze fusing, which means you can kind of support things different ways in the firing. So they could go upside down or inside out. I make these little, they're kind of like baby chucks, but they're not pretty. I didn't bother finishing them, didn't trim them. These are really just throwaway things. I throw them really fast off the hump so that when I'm running them through the kiln, I don't have to worry about what happens if they get a little stuck or something. But you can kind of see here, they'll support it. And this black part, that's unglazed. So then it can sit in the kiln like that, and I can just pick that out in for Raku firing and no issue. This also works for other things. So you can see this one was fired cone 6. So this top is glazed, this bottom is glazed, this is stained. So typically stain doesn't stick very well. If it gets really thick, sometimes a stain will fuse, especially if it's a real metallic kind of stain. But generally the stain is recessed in here. So I can even just take these little things that I threw and just support it like that on the side, and that is no glaze, and then it doesn't stick, right? And let's show you a couple of different examples. So this one we glazed in the kiln. I just stained the top and the bottom with a iron type stain, and those speckles that's the clay body doing that. So that's just a Miller. This is Miller 50 clay, and it just has a really heavy speckled. And you just have to figure out how to kind of support it. If it doesn't work in that chuck, then you can work something else. I even use kiln furniture. So these are the stilts that I use for my kiln. Sometimes you can find something ready-made and have it sit just like that. But you have to plan ahead of what you're going to leave glazed and what you're going to unglaze, and if you have something that you can actually sit it in there so that it's secure in the kiln when you're firing. And the other, so this, I'll give you a few other ideas of how you can kind of plan your Christmas ornaments. So this is graffitoed. This is just slip. So that's colored clay that I painted on when that was leather hard. But that's not a glaze. That's just raw clay. So I just left that bare, which means I could glaze the bottom and I could glaze the top, and then I could just sit that on a little kiln piece of stilt or something, and whoop, and then it won't stick to the kiln. So a couple other examples. So my daughter carved this one. So that's blue slip on a porcelain. The slips tend to be darker when they're raw unglazed at a higher temperature. So this is cone 6. And you could also use underglazes. They don't have any glassy glaze substance in them. So they're wonderful for carving and doing sgraffito, but they also don't stick. So I could glaze the top and the bottom and then leave this raw, which makes it a lot easier to support that when it's going into the kiln, and without it touching the kiln, and it fires quite safely that way, and I don't have to go through a lot of these bead wires. Let's show you another example of trying to hide the issue here. So these are marbled clay. So this was a gray and black clay mixed with white clay, and I just threw them together like that. This was a blue clay and a porcelain clay that was marbled. And because it's marbled, that's just with a clear glaze on top, you can't even barely see what is glazed and what is unglazed. I actually glazed this entire thing, and just this top is unglazed. So that is just enough to turn upside down in my kiln post and not stick to the kiln. And stain is wonderful. You can use underglaze or stain, in which case you have to plan. So say if you want to have just underglaze, if that's what you like to use, on the top, in the bottom, so that it's not just bare clay, you have to plan ahead and put it on, maybe at the leather hard stage, depending on your underglaze or your slip. Stain you can put on bisqueware. When I glazed this, that's what I did. And again, I glazed the body of it, and in the bottom, I could do that and sit it in the kiln. Let's see, what other kind of ideas? Oh, you can even silk screen them. There's a little pony in there. And you do all kinds of things. So I hope you guys have a little bit of fun with these, and I hope they're lovely, and I hope you make lots of them in all kinds of different ways, and happy ornament making. Bye.